So here's Nodin on day 14. And some sessions I like to do where I just come in and give them scratches and maybe just work on putting on the halter and kind of keep it pretty simple. So here I'm just kind of coming in, working on some cuddles, giving him some scratches, trying to find those nice itchy spots to where he has those positive associations with me and touch. And he's a pretty cute guy. You can see he's starting to really like the scratches. And coming along really nicely. And then he's been pretty good boy and pretty confident about his halter, and he likes it to go kind of over his ears versus the other way you can do where you can, if you were to flip that halter kind of over the neck, that worries him a little bit, but he's very good about it just sliding over his ears. So that's what I worked on for the day, and he was pretty good. Then moving on to the next day, we went into the barn, into the wash rack, and I like to do a lot of grooming. So letting him kind of smell the brush, see the brush first before I just go to brushing on him, and getting him used to just me being able to groom all over him. And I try to do the same thing on the other side. And I think it's really important to kind of spend this time in the beginning really bonding with them, building up the relationship in the grooming process. I really like to spend the time doing that. Getting him used to where I can brush the leg. He's pretty good about all those things. He can have a little bit of worry, but so far he's doing really well. And I'm just working on trying to see if I can get a little bit of a response from a scratchy spot. And I'm going to let him sniff the hairbrush and kind of do the same thing. Then I went ahead and just kind of sped this up for you guys. But then you can see I'm able to brush out his tail. He gets a little wiggly, but I'm feeling pretty comfortable being back there and trusting him. So then I'm just going to give him another little scratch. Again, see if I can get that positive association. Then I'm going to head back over to the treat jar and give him a second here. And we're still working on taking cookies sometimes. He was not interested in that, so I'm just going to go back to working with his feet a little bit. Being able to start to clean out the feet every day. And again, like if I have to rasp it, I will. Just trying to keep up on the angles. You can see he's gotten pretty good. I can work on putting him in the farrier stance. And I find they start to feel really comfortable, surprisingly, in the wash rack and the cross ties. I have actually two bays here, one that has a window and one that has the solid wall. So with the greener Mustangs, I always like to put them in the solid wall one so they can start to feel a little bit more secure and they don't have to worry about things that they kind of see in the peripheral behind them. But you can see he's handling it pretty well. And then I'm going to go back and pick up the hind leg again. And he's pretty good about his feet. You know, I think the one he was probably the most guarded about was the right hind, but he's got some pretty old big scars actually on his hind end there. But there we go. I able to find a little bit of an itchy spot and we get some lick and chews. So again, I'm just going to go back to the scratches, and I thought that was pretty good. So another thing that I like to do is play with this pedestal that I have. So I'm just going to see here if I can get him to do a step up. And I'm going to show him first by putting his foot on the pedestal. He's kind of like, what are you doing? But it's just a matter of positioning him in the right spot. And then showing them that he can, in fact, stand on the pedestal. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of showing him that he can. So when I have his foot on there, I'm going to be asking him to kind of step forward with my left hand on the halter. And there he did. He actually stepped up pretty quickly. And it's pretty funny because he seemed to really enjoy being on top of the pedestal. Got a nice lick and chew. He's already a tall guy, but he really likes to be tall. Sometimes they can get a little worried the first time they stand up there, and they'll back right off, but then it's pretty fun when they enjoy it. So I just stand there and kind of let him have that little moment. And then I'm going to ask him to step off by backing him off. I find this is also good practice for learning to go on a trailer as well. Because once they learn to be confident with the pedestal, it builds for that. It's a nice building block, I think. So again, I'm going to use the word step when I ask him to put his foot up, just by pulling the foot forward. And again, it's another building block as well for when we have to do farrier work and we have to put their feet on the foot stand. I find too, if I have a horse that's pretty confident with the pedestal, the foot stand becomes pretty easy. But he figured it out, and I was pretty happy with that for the day with him. We had some fun things. And then I'm just going to ask him to back off just with a little bit of pressure on the halter. And that was a really good day with Nodin.